For over 2 centuries, the Tokugawa shogunate kept Japan locked away from the world. Under a strict policy of isolation known as sakoku, the country maintained a deeply traditional, feudal society, deliberately freezing its military technology in place, while the outside world industrialized. That frozen peace shattered in the 1850s, when American Commodore Matthew Perry anchored his steam-powered warships in Tokyo Bay. The Japanese called them black ships, iron-hulled vessels armed with explosive shell guns that traditional wooden coastal defenses couldn't touch. Faced with overwhelming firepower, the shogun had no choice but to sign unequal treaties. These agreements forced Japan to open its ports and surrender legal authority over foreign citizens on its soil, effectively putting the nation at the mercy of outside empires. In a matter of months, the Tokugawa shogunate, a regime that had projected total, unquestioned authority for hundreds of years, was exposed as powerless to defend its own borders. This perceived surrender enraged the regional lords and the warrior elite. The samurai class saw the shogun's capitulation as a cowardly betrayal of Japanese sovereignty. Lower and middle-ranking samurai began organizing an armed resistance. They united under a single, furious slogan, Son no Joi, which translates to "Revere the Emperor, expel the barbarians." When we think of political uprisings, we usually picture progressives fighting for a modern future. These rebels wanted the exact opposite. Their goal was to violently drag the country backward, erase the foreigners, and restore extreme isolationist traditionalism. The conflict that would become known as the Meiji Restoration did not begin as an embrace of the modern world. It started as a conservative, anti-modern insurgency fighting to put an ancient monarch back in absolute control. By 1868, the anti-Tokugawa alliance successfully overthrew the shogunate. They officially restored power to the imperial house, placing a 15-year-old boy, Emperor Meiji, at the center of government, draped in heavy silk robes of ancient tradition. But as soon as the rebels took power, they collided with a hard mathematical reality. No amount of fighting spirit or traditional swordsmanship was going to defeat industrial artillery. The new government quietly dropped the idea of expelling the barbarians. Instead, they adopted a new state doctrine, Fukoku Kyohei, meaning enrich the country, strengthen the military. To survive, Japanese leadership realized they had to beat the Western powers at their own game. They sent specialists abroad to study foreign technology, infrastructure, and politics, deliberately discarding their own traditions to mimic the empires they fought. You can see how absolute this pivot was just by looking at the emperor's wardrobe. Within a few short years, Meiji traded his ancient garments for the gold braid and epaulets of a European military commander. The conservative warriors who bled to restore the old world found their movement entirely co-opted by the cold, pragmatic necessity of rapid modernization. To build this new, centralized state, the Meiji government had to tear down the old one. They stripped feudal lords of their domains and abolished the samurai class entirely. They even issued edicts forcing warriors to cut their traditional topknots. In place of feudal estates, the state sponsored massive industrialization. They rapidly adopted foreign production methods, replacing aristocratic warriors with a disciplined, wage-earning workforce in sprawling factories. The warriors who had actually fought to restore the emperor felt completely betrayed. Stripped of their identity and income, tens of thousands of samurai rose up in a series of bloody revolts against the new government they had helped create. But the state now had a conscript army equipped with imported rifles and modern artillery. They methodically crushed the uprisings. The era of the sword was officially over. To guarantee the survival of an independent Japan, the Meiji government had to literally hunt down and destroy its own founding revolutionaries. By the close of the 19th century, Japan had accomplished its goal. They had a written constitution, a functioning parliament, and the first fully industrialized economy in Asia. Look at this map of East Asia. You can clearly see the massive size disparity between the Japanese home islands and the sprawling Qing and Russian empires. Yet Japan tested its military might against both. In 1894, they defeated China, and in 1904, they decimated the Russian imperial fleet. These victories proved a non-Western nation could beat a European power on the battlefield. But in achieving this, Japan embraced a dark path. To keep foreign empires from colonizing their shores, they built a military machine that required resources from beyond their borders. Soon, Japan began aggressively conquering its neighbors, seizing territories like Taiwan and Korea. The Meiji Restoration succeeded in keeping Japan off the menu of Western imperialism. Yet to survive, Japan had to completely erase its ancient identity and transform into the very type of expansionist power it originally fought to keep out.